Today we're going to be doing the build order for one of the most classic strategies in Age of Mythology. It is the Isis Fast Heroic Ancestors Eclipse the economy, and we're going in first of all with 3 villagers straight away on the food. Then your next villager is going to go and build a monument. This is a 3 monument variant of it. Basically, we want to get out as many Scorpion men as we possibly can, because right now Scorpion men are pretty broken. And even if they get nerfed a bit, Scorpion Men, this special is still solid. So the only issue with this build is because we drop the monument straight away, our priest can't actually use obelisks. And obviously obelisks are very good for scouting. So where I like to put him is somewhere where you probably wouldn't want an obelisk anyway, like out to the side or one of the corners. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to force drop 5 gold from the labourer. And then that means he can drop down the obelisk straight away. He actually walked a little bit there, so I probably didn't have to force drop, but whatever. Then we're back over to the food again with the next 2 villagers. So this is a bit of a harder build order. If you want me to do an easier version without force drops and some of the funny things, then just let me know. This guy, for some reason, forgot to build the obelisks. I'm having trouble with shift clicking. Sometimes my shift clicks don't go through. I don't know if that happens to anyone else, or whether it's just a skill issue on my side, but so once we've got that, so we've got 3 over food, 3 to gold, then 2 to wood. Food, we're going to go for 1 wood. Now, this 1 wood is going to get 8 wood. Sometimes I go for 9 because sometimes it has 8. It seems to have rounded up from 7, and that's just really awkward. But what you can do is just one cycle of wood collected, which is the 10 here, which is what I've done in this one, just to make sure that we actually get it. Now, the reason that we're doing that is we're going to go for pickaxe. So here is where you want to get Flood of the Nile, which gets you 1 food per second, and pickaxe, which is the extra gold gather rate. So the reason we get that 8 wood is because you start with 100, and it costs 108 wood for Isis to get pickaxe. So it's essentially free. It only really costs 50 food, sorry, and then the 8 wood, so it's nice and easy. And then we're just going to keep sending them to gold. So the reason for this is, obviously, we've spent 135 gold, I think it is, on Flood of the Nile, and we need a temple. So we wanted to get that technology early, because it costs the same amount no matter what part of the game you get it in, but the earlier you get it, the more food you get from it. And it will just help our fast heroic later on when we get to the classical age. So the magic number here, I believe, is the 6 for gold, and then we're going to move 1 back over to the food, and as the noise sounds for the housed option, we're going to drop 2 villagers to do the temple. The reason we're doing 2 is because otherwise you get quite a late advance time. If you want a late advance time, that's absolutely fine, but the 2 villagers is what I found is a bit more consistent for getting up at that 4:30, which still gives us a decent economy, and if we're rushed, it isn't as bad as if we were to go up a little bit later. So now we're just getting a couple more out to gold, and then the last villager will pop out, moving over to some different food source. We're going through Bast, because obviously we're going for an Ancestors Eclipse, and Bast has a really good technology in Sacred Cats, which we're going to get straight away, which gives 10% boost to all food sources, which is crucial for getting up. So as soon as we hit advance, what we want to do is leave 5 on gold, because that's all we need. Then depending on when you advance, everything else can go for food except for the monuments that we want to make and 1 guy going around building houses. You don't have to build all these houses, but I feel that I just forget them, and it's good to defend all your towers with. Now what I'm doing here is just some funny micro with the Pharaoh, just to make sure you get as much food as possible, so the advance time is better. Again, you don't have to do this, but it just means your advance time might not be as good. And my villager's getting confused about doing the chickens. I don't know. There are still some funny quirks with this game, obviously being so new. So what I think I do is normally I do 4 or 5 monuments, and then I bring my priest back. Especially now with there's a lot of people that are doing centaurs and early myth units, and it's just a good idea to have your priest back. Now, what we want to do as soon as we hit the next stage, we want to drop an armory and a market. You can just drop 1, but I just like to do both because they take a long time. And get Sacred Cats, because Sacred Cats, like I said, gets you a lot more food. And if you forget it, it drops your advance time back quite a lot. There's one game that I'll be going through. I've got some game highlights of what to actually do with this strategy, and one I did forget Sacred Cats, and it pushes you back so far. Now, everything now comes out on wood, because we're going to need wood for Scorpion Men, and Chariots, and all the things that Isis likes to do. And we just got to basically slowly get up to the next stage, and then once we're really close with the food, we're going to drop basically everything to gold. I think I do roughly 13 to gold. I haven't worked out the exact one, but I'd say 13 roughly with the Pharaoh, and then the kind of even split between food and gold. And then this means that we can advance, so that would be the 5 on wood, then advance. Yeah, I put 12 plus here, so probably 12 or 13. And then everything else we want to split between the food and wood. As soon as prosperity finishes, we want to switch up that build again, because otherwise we'll have way too much gold. The only reason we've got so much on gold now is because we want to utilize the prosperity. We also want to get hand axe, because a lot of what we're doing is costing wood. It's going to be Scorpion Men and Chariot Archers. I almost got this special upgrade, add axe of something. The reason that I don't is because you would delay your second Scorpion Man, and we don't want to do that. We want to get 3 Scorpion Men as soon as possible, which is obviously why we've got these 3 monuments up. So the prosperity's finished. This is when I do my split. So 6 food, 8 wood, 8 gold, and then everything new to start with will be going on wood, because that's what we want to do to get all the wood-based units out. What I like to do is drop my Migdal Stronghold with my gold units, because we don't really need that much gold because we've used the prosperity. And I like to get a priest out as I'm advancing too, because again, there's a lot of people that will come at you with myth units. If you don't feel like that's going to be a problem, you don't need to. But priests are very good, especially with some of the Nephthys upgrades that you can get later on. So I straight away just queued 2 Scorpion Men, and then start to queue camels and chariots. A few camels to start with, just to spend that food, and then straight onto the wood-based units like the chariots. Now, what we're going to go through here is a few games, because in my Gaia guide, I didn't really show games, and I feel like it's just a good idea to see what you can get up to with this strategy. So this is exactly the same after we've got out. So we've got my handful of chariots and camels, and then here I am with the Scorpion Man and the Sphinx going around, and I see perfect opportunity for an Ancestors Eclipse. So this is against a Frey player, so they're obviously on the defensive quite a lot, and they actually drop the Golem Bursty God Power and the Tempest, the freezing thing. So this is a double God Power to counter what I've done. And you can still see that we get away with quite a few villager kills and a lot of villagers stopping working. And then that just lets me roam around having a look, because he's trying to stop the things that are still in his base, and my myth units and things can just run around and find villagers. And that is basically what you want to do, because you've spent a lot of food, a lot of gold on advancing to the heroic age, so you need to get some damage done, otherwise you'll just be behind. Like now, he's gone 2 town centers, so in an economic sense, he is ahead of me. So I need to get as much damage as I possibly can. Even just stopping them working is good, but obviously we want to get the kills if we possibly can. And then normally you can do a lot of raids with the Scorpion Men, but you just want to get as many Scorpion Men as you possibly can, because they're just so good. So Scorpion Men and Chariots is just a really good combo. And then dropping a forward Migdal Stronghold or forward buildings, just so we can get the reinforcements in. And that's when you'll normally have a pretty good time with Isis doing a fast heroic. And then later on, I'll also show one where you transition into the late game sometimes too. But this one, a lot of games will finish around the 12-13 minute mark if you do it well. So this is one where I forgot one of the monuments, so I didn't have enough to actually get any more Scorpion Men. But this is just showing how good the Ancestors Eclipse is just on stopping the economy. Even if you don't perform the build perfectly, I think this was the first one that I tried and I just wasn't doing great. You can just see that I stopped all his food, I've stopped his gold, now I've stopped his wood, and it's just his units were forward, I think, so then they just have to spend all that time getting back, and it just disrupts them for so long. And then later on, yeah, I like to get that gold upgrade as well, and then start to get some more villagers on gold after I've got a decent amount on wood as well. Then this is later on that very same game where I'm distracting on the front with some of my archers, so that pulls his units away, and then while I'm doing that, I'm attacking his economy. So he won't get the notification for that because it will just sound because he's being attacked on the front, and some players just won't even notice, especially at the low ranks. They'll just hear the noise and just assume that they're being attacked from the front, not actually checking the minimap. And then look at this special from the Scorpion Men. If you get like a group of 4 Scorpion Men, it just kills everything. I mean, they are probably a bit too busted, but they're just they're just way too good. And then that basically spells the end of this game. And then you can even send them back like this to heal them up with the priests and send them back in. And I think here I'm just searching for where he's probably mining his gold from now. Just making sure that I'm always building the camels and the chariots, because camels and chariots are really, really good. So this last one here is again against a Norse player. I only seem to play against Norse players with this, which is a bit strange. I was just going to play this strategy whoever I managed to come up against. But this is one where I didn't Ancestors Eclipse the economy, and you can see that this made the game go into a bit of a strange situation. So this is the one where I was saying that I forgot to get Sacred Cats, so I was up so much later, and that gave him a chance to wall up. It's also the same player that I played earlier, so he probably knew what he was facing this time, and thought that walls would probably stop me. And I thought here that this was a good time for Ancestors Eclipse. I mean, it isn't bad, because it obviously does push him back, and it means that I can get in, but again, he has his Golem Bursty that just, well, gets absolutely slaughtered by all of my ancestors with the Eclipse upgrade. And then I really try to push in with this against the town centre, against the fortress, but you'll see that I don't manage to get everything down. Maybe if I had more siege, probably would have been better, but I ended up being pushed back here. But this doesn't mean that the game's over, it just means that you didn't get as much value as you probably could have. But the same as any other game, after the fighting sort of happens, you just want to get your Scorpion Men, you want to be looking around for raids. You can split them into 2 groups of 2, which is probably a better idea. My guys were getting stuck on the wood there, which is very annoying. And then you just want to distract on the front, just like I was doing in the last game as well. And then here I just wanted to drop a forward Migdal. It's one of the most important things to do, is drop a forward Migdal. Now here my micro was just messing up, but I was trying to run one away and then run 2 separate ways. And then this is it. These are the 2 low HP ones that then again go and find the wood villagers, and they can just cause so much mayhem. Especially against Norse, because they don't really have the best heroes until they get to the heroic age with the Godi. But I don't think too many people have worked that out yet. And then this game just goes super late, and I just wanted to show this off to show how good priests are. If you go through Nephthys, you get the Nephthys upgrade to get 100% bonus damage, and if you get loads of them, I don't know how many, I think there's 7 there against the Fafnir, and it just gets absolutely slaughtered. And then we even got pretty late game, we were fighting a lot, so we didn't get Mythic that early, so he comes in with his Fenrir God Power, and then that doesn't quite kill the town centre, and then my broken Meteor Power definitely does kill the town centre. When you get to the last age, you can go through Thoth, you can go through Osiris, just depends what you really want to go for. Meteor right now is overtuned, so it's definitely a good shout, but Son of Osiris is really good, and the mummies as well are insane. And then just here is where we're kind of fighting a lot within the same spot. And whenever that happens, if you just send one Scorpion Man over to a gold mine, that will often net you quite a lot of results. So I've literally just sent him over now. I think I just sent one while still fighting. And this is actually what gives me the win here, because he's distracted and my one Scorpion Man goes over, I think it might be 2, go over to the gold mine, and that is that. As this one's a bit tougher, I've decided to do this one for my Myrmidon subscribers, because it's a bit more of a detailed build. But the easy builds will always be free for anyone that wants to join my Discord server. But if you want to support me and get this build in a graphic, then join the channel as a Myrmidon subscriber and you'll get the graphic for this one. And if you want an easy version, then let me know. All my easy guides will always be free on my Discord, so just let me know if you want one of those. And I'll see you in the next one.